is Joy News Prime.
It's 19 hours GMT. Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime here on Multi TV. My name is Asare Barima. Coming up this hour, political parties demand immediate dissolution of Electoral Commission's steering committee. Meanwhile, Let My Vote Count Alliance says the controversy is a disgrace to the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Chairman of the Ghana Immigration Service Board and Member of Parliament for Boko West calls for strict border security to ensure foreigners do not come into the country to register and vote.
Tekpe is now expected to present a mid-year review of estimates announced in the 2016 budget to Parliament in July.
And in other news, national security to soon have the legal right to tap, listen, record and monitor your telecommunication and messages if the Interception of Postal Packets and Telecommunication Bill 2015 is passed. We'll bring you the details plus many more within the next 2 hours. Don't forget to catch us via the ABN channel 235 if you are in Europe. My name is Asare Barima. Let's begin with the major opposition parties who are pointing accusing fingers at the Electoral Commission for exhibiting bias. The New Patriotic Party, for instance, is demanding the immediate dissolution of the Electoral Commission's steering committee ahead of the November 7 elections. The team was inaugurated last week as part of a move to ensure credible elections later this year. Now, the 18-member committee, chaired by EC boss Charlotte Osei, has members from various state institutions, including the prison service and the Ghana Police Service. But campaign manager of the MPP, Peter McMahon, tells Kwacha Frenyama of our political desk the committee is bogus.
The Electoral Commission gave us an election 2016 calendar, which details out series of important events that will take place between now and November. And nowhere in that election 2016 calendar is the issue of steering committee inauguration mentioned. So I and the New Patriotic Party do not know anything. We only knew of the inauguration of the steering committee through Joy FM website, My Joy Online FM. Let me repeat, the Electoral Commission cannot, and I think people would always say they are independent. For me, sovereignty rests with the people of Ghana, this country, that's enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. So they cannot do exclusive election management. Election management is an inclusive thing. It's an inclusive process, and all stakeholders must be included in anything that has effect on the organization of the elections.
Well, the Electoral Commission says that this team, this steering committee, is to help them ensure that we have a credible election on November 7.
You go and pack that committee with known NDC officers, and you don't say anything about it to other members of other political parties. What is
the People's National Convention, PNC, the Progressive People's Party, PPP, and the Convention People's Party have all condemned the move by the Electoral Commission, saying it is inappropriate. Now, the CPP and PPP were earlier on polls and made their submission.
Not taking a clear position on the matter because it is a matter that is just emerging. My party is not privy to so many issues, but at the moment we are just taking casual analysis of what is happening. And we are saying that, for example, if a known NDC person, you know, somebody who is a deputy director of international relations of the NDC is put on the committee, you know, it will only go to fuel the public perception that, you know, the NDC is, you know, hobnobbing with that of the EC, which would not be good for the electoral process in 2016. But I think that we have to make it quite clear that the CPP would definitely not encourage, a practice where, a decision will be taken without consulting, IPAC, because that is the essence of IPAC. Apart from that, IPAC has nothing to do. So, for example, for a significant, important decision like this, members of IPAC, we should be informed so that we can also bring our views to make it better. But now, if we just wake up one bright morning and then the EC says that, oh, we are forming a committee and we are inaugurating, we think that, maybe there's something hidden, and as a party, we would want to know everything. In fact, so the consultation should be broadened. The discussion should be broadened. The mandate of the committee should be explained clearly. We want issues to actually be discussed transparently and clearly before we can take position on it. We cannot just go and take a position on a matter that you have no knowledge about.
Well, I have been joined in the studio by another on phone and in the studio, but on phone first, I have Mr. Ali Duseidu, who is a political science lecturer with the University of Ghana. Good evening to you, Dr. Ali Duseidu, and thanks for joining us on today's Big Story.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
Dr. Ali Duseidu, you have heard the submission by the opposition political parties, first with the MPP and then the other political parties joining and accusing the Electoral Commission. All they want is for a dissolution of that steering committee. What do you make of their submission?
I think they are right in some regard, because if you look at the issue of elections, especially elections in Ghana, it's a stakeholder-based thing. Even though the Electoral Commission is mandated by the Constitution to conduct elections, but the Electoral Commission works with other stakeholders in this regard. So I think that for something like this to happen, political parties which are major stakeholders and who stand to benefit in the electoral processes must be consulted through IPAC or any other forum by which they will be in the know. I have observed that it's not wrong to form a committee to help. And if you look at the 10-member committee, most of the members are made up of key institutions that in themselves are stakeholders to the electoral processes in this country. So involving them in a committee of this nature is going to help generally broaden ideas and then give a proper direction to how elections can be conducted. And I think the Constitution gives the Electoral Commission to form that. And if you look at the current Electoral Commissioner, most of her actions have been done in this committee form. If you look at the review after the Supreme Court verdict, a committee was formed to look at the proposition of the Supreme Court and then the reforms that was needed. If you look at when the NPP came out with the need for a new voter register, another committee was formed. And then this is a third committee. So I think rather than just holding everything to the heart of the EC, they want to broaden the way they work and involve other stakeholders. But to still do this without consulting political parties, which are key stakeholders in this particular process, is not good.
But is it necessary at all to have a steering committee at this critical moment?
Yeah, I think it is. The EC doesn't act alone, honestly. And the actions and inactions of the EC have a broader impact on other stakeholders in the country. So, for example, you have somebody representing maybe the prison services, or the NCCE, or the Ghana military, and all those. These are all key stakeholders in the electoral processes. We need dissemination. We need information about electoral processes and what must go on. And the NCCE is constitutional mandated to carry out this particular responsibility. So, assuming you have somebody representing the EC in a committee of this nature, that can bring institutional link-up and then interface between the work that the NCC does and the work that the Electoral Commission need them to do in the run-up to election 2016. We also have security implications. We have people representing the security establishment in this 10-member committee. That is also another state institutional interface. These are good, but the idea is that to be able, the key beneficiaries and stakeholders in this process are political parties, and they should have been consulted, or they should also have a say or a stake in that particular committee. I think, apart from that particular issue, I don't see anything wrong with having a committee that can help manage the elections in November 2016.
Dr. Ali said, I'll have you hold and speak with David Asante, the convener of Let My Vote Count, who is in the studio right now with me. You released a statement and saying that the committee members are members of the ruling NDC. And of course, today we've seen one of them resign. What really are your fears?
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Let me say good evening to our viewers. I doubt if ever we have fears, but really, doubt and feelings of uncertainty, these are the issues. The EC in the last few months has not really conducted itself as a commission properly to really gain confidence of the populace. We came out and we spoke about the political affiliation of members on the committee. It has come out and we've been vindicated. Dr. Cormac Ahim. The second person is also the deputy director or the deputy Shrine commissioner. I'm talking about Joe Whittle. Then also the rep from Peace Council in the person of Mr. Azumia. These are individuals who are hardcore NDC members. We've said it over and over again. Now look, what really baffles our mind is the fact that after the tacit admission by the man in question as being an NDC member and therefore doing the honorable thing by pulling out of the committee, the EC has still not spoken. But
indeed, the NDC says that these people making up of the steering committee, they don't need them to win elections. And beyond being NDC members, they are also Ghanaians. That should settle the matter.
I am thinking the EC would have done the whole nation a better deal if they had kept to themselves the expose of the fact that the committee is independent when they knew very well they had put together an NDC biased panel. That is where our fear and our feeling of doubt and uncertainty emerges from. The EC has not been truthful to Ghanaians. You put up an NDC committee and come back to the public and tell us it is a committee full of independence and who has absolute neutrality. Now, we have made a point and we've been vindicated. I think the EC must come out and speak. We still maintain they should dissolve the committee.
Let me have you hold and speak with Dr. Ali Duseidu, who is still on the phone line. Dr. Ali Duseidu, Peter McMahon of the MPP put it, and I'm going to quote him. He says, what will all the directors of the Electoral Commission be doing?
I honestly speaking, I think election day is a very busy day for all the directors and everybody. And if you have a committee, my problem is not with the committee and how the committee is going to help. I understand the point that Mr. Asante is making about bias. If it is established that members of the committee are members of a specific political party without representation of other political parties, that is not fair. I agree to that. But moving beyond that, it is not a problem. It is not a challenge for the EC to establish a committee that is made up of independent and partisan people to help them manage elections in this country.
Okay.
But as long as we have partisan allegiance and inclinations of members, that is only restricted to one party. It calls for consent. But there's nothing wrong with forming a committee to help the EC manage elections on election day.
So, Doc, do you by chance have any information on what the steering committee's role is in the upcoming elections?
I still don't know, but I just know the EC said they are going to help in the sharing of ideas and then in consultation. But I don't know the full details of what they are supposed to do. But the idea is that because they are made up of different people of independent mind and stakeholders in Ghana's electoral processes. And because that's also going to serve as an interface between the EC and other state institutions which will be party to the elections, I don't think there's something wrong with that. Unless, of course...
Yes, you're still on air, Doc.
Yeah, unless, of course, what the Let My Vote Count Alliance people are talking about, if that is established to be true, then we still have the issues to deal with. But there's no problem with what they are doing.
You agree with a steering committee. There's nothing wrong with that. But you disagree with the fact that it's siding one party or members of one party is involved in that committee. Your recommendations?
So I am thinking that if that's established to be true, those people who are not members, who are established to be members of political parties, must resign, or the EC must remove them from the panel. But if they want them to stay, then they must make sure that all other political parties have representation in that particular committee, so that we know that every political party is represented. And political parties are part of the stakeholders, including the security services, prison services, NCC, National Service Scheme, and all those other stakeholders. If that happens, then we know that political parties are also important stakeholders, and every political party contesting election 2016 have representation. That can give such a committee credibility and remove all these doubts that surrounding their intention. But if that is not going to happen, then all known partisan members in that committee must be removed so that we have independent thinking people. Even though it's still, you can't just say that because somebody is not affiliated openly to a political party doesn't mean that you don't work in the interest of a political party, honestly. But the idea that they are known political party members raises a lot of doubt.
Many thanks to Dr. Ali Desaido. He's a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. In the studio, David, are you saying that you want the steering committee to be dissolved, or you want a steering committee with independent people?
Absolutely. I appreciate the position of Dr. Saidu, and I share the same view as well. The EC has absolute independence, which of course empowers it constitutionally to set up committees.
Do you think it's needless to have a steering committee, or you feel that, I mean, indeed we need a steering committee, but it must be filled with independent people?
Technically, if the EC at any point in time believes it wants to set up a committee, steering committee, an ad hoc one, it has the constitutional right and mandate to do so. But the question is, if it is going to be political, give the political parties a fair representation and equal representation. And if it is purely an independent committee, don't do a covert selection of putting in NDC people on the committee.
Which one would you prefer? An independent steering committee or a committee filled with political party members?
The elections of 2016 appears a little bit of a crucial election. Okay. It will be proper in the interest of all Ghanaians for the EC to compose a committee with all the political parties registered having full representation. It will set our hearts at peace. As it stands now, the EC is giving us a lot of reasons to have doubt, and that's not too good for us.
But every Ghanaian has a political party he or she supports one way or the other.
But as long
How
as
sure are you of these independent-minded people you're talking about?
The point we are trying to establish is that there are structures in the EC's workings, from national to regional and district. And it's interesting. If you take time to read the terms of reference or the mandate of the commission, it says they are going to harmonize the activities of the Electoral Commission to make sure there is peace during, before, and after the election. Is this what the EC cannot do? Okay. What is the role of the 7 members of the committee? What is going to be the role of the district elections management body, national and regional? So really, if the EC, per its technical mandate, believes there is a need for a committee, all we are asking is that we're not doubting the EC's constitutional right to set up a committee. That's what we're talking about. We asking that set up a committee if you deem it fit, but make sure the political parties either have fair representation, or if it's going to be a purely independent committee, don't put an individual over there who has openly held a political party position like Dr. Karl McAhin, former deputy director of NDC International Affairs, or a man in the person of Mr. Francis Azumia, who once attempted contesting the Busa North parliamentary seat.
Have you had any response since from the Electoral Commission?
I think we just started putting a document together. In a month from now, we'll have to officially write to the EC and profile these individuals. And it's getting interesting and murkier by the day. This is where we are. One person has admitted being NDC and has pulled out. We'll profile the individual sitting on the committee as the days go by. And I can tell you on authority, if the EC doesn't come out to humbly eat the pie and still insist on that position, what will happen is we'll profile the individuals one after the other with their political party ID cards, and we'll be left with just a single soul out of the 10 committee.
Many thanks to you, David Asante. He's the convener of Let My Vote Count. We can now listen to the opposition political parties. Let's start with the PPP, Kofi on this matter.
We have been part of some discussions where, because of the inaccuracies registered by presiding officers, we recommended that graduates from the polytechnics and the universities should be engaged in this exercise. So we want to thank for the EC that was this committee and the involvement of the National Service Secretariat as an institution was in furtherance to that kind of action. But we need to be sure that we don't engage in actions that will go to support the perception that we have. The committee's work, in my view, has to be defined and there are terms of reference given. At this stage, the responsibility to conduct the free and fair elections that we all expect lies with the Electoral Commission. So they must make sure it happens. They can't, if you like, cede that responsibility to any subcommittee of it. But of course, it's a commission, so sometimes they want to have some of these committees in place, but in doing that they need to be sure. There's something the PPP has been talking about. Look, it doesn't matter who represents anybody on a certain committee. If the systems you put in place is such that human interference and intervention is not possible, we don't care. You can put President Mahama as chairman of this committee. If he has to lose the election, he will lose. So the way we vote and how we do it, and the fact that we need to introduce systems that has, if like, element of verification and auditing, the electronic voting that we've been talking about, you can go and sit there and become NDC executive and all that. How are we even selecting the national service personnel that are supposed to be, if that is the decision, to man the polling station?
Away from the political parties and the Electoral Commission, Chairman of the Ghana Immigration Service Board and Member of Parliament for Boko West, Cletus Avoka, have called on immigration service personnel at the Ghana-Burkina Faso border at Paga in the Upper East region to ensure that no political party brings in people from outside the country to register as voters when the Electoral Commission begins the limited voters registration exercise later this year. Mr. Avoka warns government will not tolerate any immigration officials who will condone such activities. He was addressing officials of the Ghana Immigration Service at Paga in the Upper East region, where the Ghana Immigration Service Board is currently on a working visit.
The Ghana Immigration Service Board visit to the Upper East region is part of the board's effort to get first-hand information on happenings at Ghana's various entry points, including the unapproved routes. The visit also enabled the Immigration Service Board to interact with immigration service personnel at the Ghana-Burkina Faso border at Paga and also listen to their concerns. Addressing a gathering of immigration service personnel, Chairman of the Ghana Immigration Service Board and MP for Boko West, Cletus Avoka, charged the personnel to ensure that no political party transports foreigners into the country to register as voters when the Electoral Commission begins the limited voters registration exercise later this year.
Do not compromise yourselves. We know that as Ghanaians we are entitled to vote, but we will not take only to anybody who want to identify himself with any group of people or persons, etc. That is not your role. Your function do not do that. Your function is to protect Ghana.
Director of the Ghana Immigration Service, Felix Yausapon, said steps are being taken to equip immigration officials when the Ghana Immigration Service Bill 2015 is finally assented to by the President.
We are now supposed to be willing arms. So we are now trying to get about 4,000 rifles and about 3,000 pistols. But before then, there's going to be a package of retraining of officers who went to border patrol and training of others that know.
Assistant Controller of Immigration for the Paga Sector Command, ACOI Francis Techi, said even though he and his men are doing their best to ensure that Ghana is secure, they face many challenges which make their work very difficult.
The extreme weather conditions within the region make night patrols very difficult without protective clothing and tents. These extreme weather conditions also cause for the need for frequent replacement of our service uniforms, which has not been forthcoming.
The board will also visit other border posts in the region, including the Ghana-Burkina Faso and Ghana-Togo borders at Kulungungu and Pusiga respectively as part of the tour.
We'll take a break on Joy News Prime. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now to the rest of our stories. An Accra High Court has adjourned to March 24 the case in which suspended national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Paul Afoko, is challenging his suspension. This is to allow all parties in the case to file their documents and witness statements.
Among the 5 issues raised by Paul Afoko, the court is to determine the status of some 2 members of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, whose petition to the disciplinary committee led to Mr. Afoko's suspension. Mr. Afoko's lawyers are challenging the legitimacy of Gifty Kusi and Alhaji Short to be on the disciplinary committee. According to him, the 2 do not have the right to demand his removal since they are not properly appointed members of the committee. Speaking to Joy News after the hearing on Wednesday, spokesperson for Paul Afoko, Barima Osei, explained that they are contesting the decision of the committee based on which he was suspended.
Some of the issues will be disposed of by legal arguments, according to the court, and some of the issues, a few of them, will be disposed of by taking evidence. And so today in court, the court ordered that the parties should file and exchange documents, if any. And also, the parties should file their witness statements. In all, these processes were to take a total of 37 days, which will take us to the 24th of March. If all goes well, on the 24th of March, the court will vet all the documents and the witness statements filed, after which the trial will proceed. In court, lawyers for Mr. Afoko wanted the time within which all these documents and witness statements will be filed to be shorter than the 24th of March 2016. And so the court was of the view that if all the processes are served well before the 24th, lawyers for Mr. Afoko, who is the plaintiff, could apply ex parte for the date to be brought back. That is before the 24th of March. So basically, this is what transpired in court this morning.
The National Executive Committee, NEC, suspended Paul Afoko in October 2015 for misconduct following a recommendation by the disciplinary committee. An angry Paul Afoko subsequently sued the NPP, describing his decision as constitutional. He is praying the court to interpret the NPP constitution, which he wants to be used as basis to declare his suspension as null and void.
We'll take a break on Joy News Prime. We'll be back with the business segment. Time now for business. Emmanuel Abuajiri face here. I hear Setsepe is going to Parliament in July to present his supplementary budget.
Review of the estimates announced in the 2016 budget.
Okay. Yes. So what are the expectations out there?
Well, it's become a ritual that half year, every time or every year,
he has to come back to ask for more.
Well, not necessarily ask for more, but to take stock of what we were supposed to do and where we have reached.
But for what those that I have followed over the years, it has always been that
asking for more.
The finance ministry needs more money to execute this.
It becomes Oliver Twist, right?
We hope this time it won't be asking for more.
Certainly hope so.
Okay.
All right, so it's time for business. And the Finance Minister, Setsepe, is now expected to present a mid-year review of estimates announced in the 2016 budget to Parliament in July. This is contained in the budget preparation calendar of government's operations for the next 3 years. George Wiafe has more.
The calendar gives a detailed breakdown of the various timelines in implementing some of the targets set out in the 2015-2016 budget and presentation of next year's estimates. The July date by the Finance Ministry might indeed confirm earlier speculations that the much talked about supplementary budget presentation may not happen anytime soon. This means that the Finance Minister may look at the option of presenting a mid-year review estimate of the 2016 budget as well as a supplementary budget. According to the guidelines, government will start negotiating with organized labor on salaries for 2017 in April. It is also hoping to start taking inputs from the public in the same month when it comes to the presentation of next year's budget. The guideline is also proposing December 2016 instead of November date for presenting the 2017 budget. Normally, the Finance Minister presents the budget for the previous year 2 clear months before the actual date of its implementation. So if we are supposed to stick to this guideline, then it's likely that the trend might change.
Now, there are calls for more private business operators to participate in the running of state-owned institutions towards the country's economic development. This, according to the advocates, has become necessary because government has failed to effectively manage most of the institutions to the benefit of the economy.
The call was made at the launch of the book dubbed Dare to Dream at the Springboard Roadshow. The General Overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Dr. Mensa Otabil, highlighted the need to reduce government's participation in the management of state-owned institutions.
I'm looking for the day when government employs only about 5% of doctors in Ghana. I'm looking for the day when the government employs just about 5% of nurses, and when government does not run all the schools and run them aground as they've been doing. I'm looking for the day when schools will be run by institutions, by cooperatives, by local areas, by churches, and by other agencies, which can run them well and run them with vision. I'm looking for the time when government does not become such a huge player in procurement, where almost everything we buy is bought for the government, and that's what feeds all the corruption we find in our country. When private people are buying, they are very careful. I don't think MTN is going to allow people to inflate what they want to buy by 4 times, because private people know the value of money. Unfortunately, government has no appreciation for the money that comes to them because they didn't generate it. We give it to them, and they have no respect for it.
Other participants of the book launch at the Springboard Roadshow, Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete, Executive Director of Data Bank, and private legal practitioner Yoni Kulendi, also added their voice to the call.
Government can provide the environment, but for Ghana to really make progress in terms of economic development, I believe strongly that it will take us in the private sector to stand up.
Human experience has shown that the state is not the best manager of enterprise. The state is not the best manager of business. There's greater inefficiency, there's greater incompetence, there's greater corruption, there's greater waste in state enterprises compared with private enterprises. So if we can have more of our activity, more of our economy, more of the space dominated, managed, owned and controlled by private individuals, by corporates and natural persons, the better for us.
The book launch was also used to mark the 10th anniversary of the Springboard Roadshow, which is now expected to go beyond the shores of Ghana to other parts of Africa.
Subscribers of telecoms company Tigo can now be assured of the security of their data on the network. This is because the company has opened a state-of-the-art data center for storing and managing customer data. The center is pegged at a cost of $5.1 million. Chief Technology and Information Officer for Tigo, Ron Reddick, spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the facility today.
This is the system physically, one that makes all the systems more secure. A lot of different hacks can happen, by just getting access to a secure system. Plugging directly in, and then you have access, you can bypass all the security features. So that's the first step, is securing the facility physically, limited access, and everything happens under change management. The next piece is all the monitoring of all the individual systems. That makes sure that everything that happens, it's all secured through a single sign-on system that our security team is put in, so that every action that happens on there is monitored and actually needs authorization from a senior level before anybody can actually even get to the system. We have configuration management that then layers on top of that. So any approved changes actually go through configuration management that tracks the actual change to make sure it meets our compliance standards.
Now, away from that, mining giant AngloGold Ashanti is challenging claims of not doing enough to protect its mining concession, thereby resulting in encroachment by illegal miners. AngloGold recently shut down some of its operations and withdrew some of its workers because of threats by the activities of Galamsey operators. Some industry watchers have, however, accused the mining firm of not showing much commitment to protect its mines, but the group head of investor relations, Stuart Bailey, disagrees.
So in the first instance, we put up a 21-kilometer fence which surrounds the perimeter of the immediate project concession that we have. That fence has been breached. We have a large security contingent on site, but it is important to remember that under the law and under the UN's voluntary principles on security and human rights, our security do not or does not carry lethal weapons. So we really do rely on the authorities and the government security apparatus to provide us peace and stability on site. So we have done all that we believe we've done all we reasonably can to secure the site, but there is a limit to what we can do on our own.
And therefore, the assurance I get from you that you did everything as a mining firm to protect your concessions. But again, you are bounded by laws on the extent in which you can go to ensure that nobody encroaches on that concession.
That is correct. We believe we've done what we reasonably can, and we would like to have peace and stability restored to site by, as I said, by the government security apparatus. That is crucial.
Group Head of Investor Relations at AngloGold, Stuart Bailey. We're now turning our attention to the stock and commodities market, and we've been joined by John Amakon to give us updates for today. Hi, John.
Hi, Emmanuel.
How are you today?
Very, very good. You know,
just goes straight ahead.
It's a Wednesday, and it, of course, midweek exactly. And the market is also responding at that, as the market did almost 132,720. Not that significant, but of course, you can see the recovery rate actually picking up here in Ghana. But bringing total market capitalization just a bit down to 56 billion. Okay, but then the positive news is that the market is actually jumped from the negative region into the positive regions by actually recording. The composite they're recording almost about 0.10 in the positive regions. Now it's actually out of the doldrums of the negative zones. Basically, that's exactly what it is. And going forward, we're looking at those equities which actually move the market. Car actually led the pack after returning 1 Peswa to the investor, EGL 1, UTB 1, but Ecobank Ghana lost 1 Ghana on the on the bourse today. That's basically how the market fed. But there's mixed feeling among investors on the commodities market, basically in the sense that, you know, Iran, Russia, and others went for some meeting. After the meeting, still the decision taking, investors aren't really taking it that much. They need something extra, some extra information to actually move them. So you can tell the market is still not moving after that. You know, the moment after the news came, oil price started rising, but after the meeting, it's still stable between 33, 34, 33, 34. So that tells you that investors aren't that confident in the aftermath of that particular meeting. They want something extra. Okay, that's so basically gold also did gain something, and of course cocoa also kept losing. The dollar is not is actually getting stronger and stronger by the day against the cedi, but today the cedi actually saw some appreciation against all 3 other currencies, talking about the British pound, the euro, and the Chinese yuan, exactly. So because of the numbers being released in the United States and some other jurisdictions, that's actually pushing the currency just a bit, making it a bit stronger. So I think basically that's it for the market for today, Wednesday.
Thank you very much, John. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Thank you. John Amakon is our stock analyst, ending this evening's edition of the business segment. My name is Emmanuel Abwaji Wiafi. Good evening.
This is Joy News Prime. Welcome back from that break now to the rest of the stories. The national security will soon have the legal right to tap, listen, record, and monitor your telecommunication messages if it's successful in getting parliamentary passage of the Interception of Postal Packets and Telecommunication Bill 2015 passed. Now, the bill, according to proponents, is to fight crime in all forms, including money laundering, terrorism, narcotic trafficking, and identity theft.
The bill is awaiting the consideration and report of the Defense and Interior Committee to kickstart processes to pass it into law. The issue of invasion of privacy, a possible infringement on the constitutional provision on privacy and confidentiality agreement between telecom service providers and their customers are at risk. Member of Parliament for Kaikwe Central, Patrick Boama, wants stakeholder engagement before the law is passed.
To the extent that it complies or conforms with the provisions of the Constitution, I wouldn't have a problem with it. That is why the public must be educated enough to understand that they are going about their day-to-day activity, their telephone conversation, their text messages are not read or listened to. Because if you look at the long title of the bill and also a provision in the bill, one of the clauses, especially with the interpretation of what intercept means, to listen, hear, tamper with people's conversation, we ought to be educated more on it. We ought to be sure of what the intelligence agencies are going to be doing.
The Member of Parliament for Mpraeso, Seth Echampon, who is also a member of the Defense and Interior Committee, says members are yet to be served with copies of the memorandum for consideration of the bill to take off.
Per my communication, our clerks are yet to fully advertise it to us in terms of offering us the specific bills for us to go read before we go into committee and then report for second reading. So we're just in the first reading. Nothing has happened.
So are you saying that you are not aware of the details of the bill as of now?
Oh, yes. We are yet to be briefed, first and foremost, by the sponsoring agency as a committee, because we need to, before we report to plenary for second reading to be adopted, we must and we need to sit in committee with the sponsors of the bill for them to offer us what they purport to do as a policy in respect of that particular legislation.
The Coalition of Concerned Teachers is asking government to pay arrears owed its members or they will quit teaching. The coalition says if government does not pay them their 100 million Ghana cedis incremental credit arrears and other outstanding arrears by February 29, its members will stay out of the classroom to press home their demands.
The Coalition of Concerned Teachers, who met newsmen Wednesday morning, highlighted issues relating to their salary arrears. Acting president of the group, Awode King Lee, says they are tired of the back and forth with government and all they need is their money. Explaining the issues, King Ali says the new policy of payment from the Finance Ministry directs that arrears in respect to recruitment, promotions and reactivation of staff do not exceed 3 months of the date of appointment. This, they say, is a ploy to deny them what they are due.
Some of these monies that we are talking about are salary arrears. Incremental credit arrears date back from 2011-2012. We were promised payment in 2015, it was not paid. We were promised payment in 2014, it was not paid. We were promised payment in 2013, it was not paid. Indeed, in 2016, it has even been captured in the budget, but the Minister of Finance is still adamant to pay. Then we also have what we call the 3 months policy. Mr. Setekpe, the Minister of Finance, on November 4, 2013, brought out a letter asking all the MMDAs and Controller Accountant General not to pay salary arrears beyond 3 months. And the letter stipulates that it will affect all public sector workers. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It affected only teachers to the extent that, as we speak, there are teachers that work for 10 months and they were given 3 months. There were teachers that worked for 1 year and they were given 3 months. There were those that worked for even 2 years and they were given 3 months. And the rest has been locked up to now, after they have gone through all the rigorous process for the rest of the money to be paid them. We are telling Mr. Setekpe that that policy that he brought is not helping teachers and that it is hampering education in totality.
They mentioned allowances including payment of vehicle maintenance, outstanding transfer grants, travel and transport, incremental credit and non-payment of newly recruited teachers as some of the arrears owed them.
We are talking about our incremental credit arrears, we are talking about transfer grants and all that. But of all these issues, two of the issues are extremely critical. The very first one are teachers that has been posted or recruited for 2013, 2014, 2015, and as we speak, they have not been paid, but they are working. And the second issue are teachers that worked for several months, some ran into years, and they were given 3 months and the rest has been paid. It is very, very unfortunate that this is happening, and we want to draw the attention of the Minister of Finance to Article 24 of the 1982 Constitution that you cannot employ somebody and then refuse to pay the person.
The teachers said they are preparing for court action against the state to seek interpretation of the law at the Supreme Court.
A healthcare delivery at the Upper West Regional Hospital was this morning halted. Nurses at the hospital have laid down their tools and came to the entrance of the hospital to protest the appointment of Dr. Barnabas Gandao as new medical superintendent of the hospital over the favorite candidate Chris Opoku-Fofie. The nurses were joined by some patients and other residents of the town to protest against what they call injustice meted out to Dr. Chris Opoku-Fofie, who has been at the hospital since 2007. A report by Rafiq Salam.
According to the nursing group of the Upper West Regional Hospital, who are leadless, today's demonstration is a continuation of Monday's protest. The nursing group is protesting against the appointment of Dr. Barnabas Gandao as the new medical superintendent of the hospital over their preferred candidate, Dr. Chris Opoku-Fofie, who has been at the hospital since 2007. The nursing group said, although they have no qualm and doubt about the competence of Dr. Gandao, but they are of the opinion that sacrifice, hard work, and loyalty should reign supreme.
We are tired because when they want a gynecologist, he refuses. And now he is coming here. What did he want? When Dr. Fofie came here, he saved many people, he saved many lives. But now we are tired. For him coming to be our doctor, we don't want him.
They were joined at the main entrance of the hospital by some retired nurses, patients, and some residents of Wa. A bleeding heart defender of Dr. Fofie's record and a retired nurse joined his former colleagues on the protest.
I'm not saying he's the best person. Okay. He has been here for close to 9 or 10 years. There were occasions he handled the hospital as the acting director. Other people refuse to come here. However, can you point out a single specialist who has stayed in Upper West close to the time Dr. Fofie has stayed? No. A single specialist. In every field. When Fofie was out of the country, out of the place, why is he not doing now? Do they go to Nigeria again? Go into the market. Ask every patient, every person in the market about Dr. Fofie. They'll tell you.
Patients who went to the hospital at dawn for medical treatment were left to their fate as the nurses staged a protest. Mothers who went with their sick children sat helplessly on hospital floors. A more worrying development is the case of this woman who gave her name only as Denisia.
I don't know. I just tried to come and myself and see whether they are actually working, and the gate is closed.
And so, in what way has it affected you?
Because I will not have my treatment. I came for a very long distance. I'll have to go back. What improvement they have? Because I'm not the only one who is disappointed. So many other patients are coming.
After seeing no sign of the new medical superintendent at the hospital, the protesters dispersed and only allowed skeleton of their members to get to work. Outgoing medical superintendent of the hospital, Dr. William Dodu, refused to comment on the latest incident. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
We'll take a break and we'll be back with the international news. Lord Asare is here, and you know what that means, Lord?
It's time for JN Interactive, isn't it?
Yes, I know.
Great. So, are you ready to cede legal rights to national security to tap, listen, record, and monitor your telecommunication messages? The interception of postal packets and telecommunication bill, according to proponents, is to fight crime in all forms, including money laundering, terrorism, narcotic trafficking, and identity theft. What do you think?
It's very bad.
Why'd you say that?
The national security have no authority on the human race because we have our freedom and peace. It's going to disturb our privacy, which is not righteous at all.
Now, imagine being represented by 90 lawyers in courts. Yes, a Nigerian judge has criticized a lawyer facing criminal charges after he turned up in court in Lagos with a defense team of more than 90 lawyers. Also, boxer cum politician and pastor Manny Pacquiao seems to have gotten himself global enemies after his controversial gay comment. Latest on his gay comments reveal his followership on Twitter has dwindled from over 2 million to slightly over 10,000. Aisha. Interesting, eh?
Very interesting. And I'm more interested in the telecommunication thing. You see how passionate the man was? In fact, it will affect our privacy, you know? Yeah. So when he comes back later, he will give you details of all of that. But now, let's have a recap of our stories making headlines. We'll take a break. We'll be back with the headlines.
This is Joy News Prime.
And recapping our stories for this evening, making headlines. Political parties demand immediate dissolution of Electoral Commission Steering Committee following revelations at least one member on the committee is an NDC member. Meanwhile, the Let My Vote Count Alliance says the controversy is a disgrace to the Electoral Commission of Ghana. And chairman of the Ghana Immigration Service Board and member of parliament for Boko West calls for strict border security to ensure foreigners do not come into the country to register and vote. In other news, national security to soon have the legal right to tap, listen, record and monitor your telecommunication messages if the interception of postal packets and telecommunication bill 2015 is passed. Let's zoom on Joy News Prime. Government is importing about 1,000 outboard motors for fisher folks in the western and central regions, whilst ensuring the regular supply of premix fuel to help enhance fishing activities in the country. This was disclosed by the national chairman of the Premix Fuel Committee during the inauguration of the AXIM Committee in the western region. This is a report by William Benjamin Peters.
AXIM, which is the capital of the Nzima East municipality, is a vibrant and busy coastal community in the western region. Unfortunately, fisher folks in the area are confronted with myriad of challenges, especially in the supply of premix fuel. Some fisher folks have constantly complained about alleged politicization in the supply of the fuel, as well as the misappropriation of funds by members of the Premix Committee, which led to its dissolution some time ago. The formation of the new committee is therefore good news to fisher folks. The 21-member committee is made up of a chairman, secretary, canoe owner, chief fisherman, representative of MOFA, and representative of the DCE, drawn from the 3 main landing beaches at AXIM. Speaking at the official inauguration of the committee, Chairman of the National Premix Fuel Committee, Kweku Sessa Johnson, charged the committee to desist from all forms of vices, which include smuggling, politicization of the supply of the fuel, and ensure fairness, rendering accounts at least every 3 months. He, however, hinted the plans are far advanced for the importation and supplying of 1,000 outboard motors to fisher folks in the western and central regions, as well as nets and introduction of fiberglass canoes.
under the United Nations, which takes care of all maritime issues in the world, has brought about a new regulation as much as possible to try, and all countries must try to phase out wooden canoes because of its innovative environmental impact. So we have also bought into that idea, and we have started negotiations to ensure that in the next few years, we'll be able to phase out wooden canoes from our shores. We also intend to have what we call the Coastal Sanitary Project, where we are starting on a pilot basis with about 53 communities. And of course, we know that premix alone doesn't make up for fishing. So the government and the ministry, together with the National Premix Prayer Committee, have planned, in fact, they've ordered for a number of hardball motors, which we expect them to be in town by March.
He again hinted of the introduction of Coastal Sanitary Project, which will see the construction of toilet facilities as well as urinals for 53 fishing communities in the country to ensure sanity and enhancement in fishing activities.
The Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Ekot Spiel-Gabra, is expected to outline government's key policy initiatives for 2016 at a meeting with a section of the business community in Accra tomorrow. He's scheduled to address the first in the series of networking events organized by the Ghana South Africa Business Chamber in partnership with Joy Business. Now, President of the Chamber, Ashley Rick, says the initiative is timely for the private sector and the economy at large.
Well, I think it's very important because, it's the beginning of the year. A lot of businesses are looking towards the year. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of things that have happened at the beginning of this year. We've got a new tax act. We've had increases in the water tariffs. We had increases in electricity. We ended the year last year with a very high inflation, I think about 17.7%. So a lot of sort of uncertain factors about what's actually going to be happening in the economy for 2016. So we thought it very important to, let's bring the Minister of Trade and Industry across so that he can speak to the members, tell them about what his plans are, what government's policies are, what their initiatives are, and what business opportunities there are for people and for businesses in Ghana in 2016.
What difference do you expect that to make?
Well, I think it helps a lot. It helps a lot. It instills confidence in the business. It instills confidence for businesses to invest. Not just foreign businesses, but local businesses as well. Installs confidences in the banks to provide funding. So, if the minister is able to provide a positive economic outlook to the business community, it will definitely go a long way in insisting, in helping those businesses grow.
Well, unconfirmed reports suggest that a ferry traveling in Yeji to Yeji full of passengers has sunk. We are joined on the phone by MP for the area to tell us more about this. Good evening to you, madam. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, madam.
Can you please confirm this? Have people in a ferry sunk in Yeji?
Please, I'm not the DC for Yeji. I am the MC from Kranza.
Okay, corrected. Can you confirm the news that some people have sunk in the ferry at Yeji?
And I am saying I'm not the DC for Yeji. I'm not from Yeji. I'm at Kranza.
Okay, so you have no information about this incident? Well, many thanks to you. We'll try and get the appropriate people to speak to on this matter. Let's look at, are you ready to cede legal rights to national security to tap, listen, record, and monitor? Those are some of the stories we'll be bringing you shortly in this bulletin. But before, for some time now, areas that were hardest hit with load shedding or call it load management are saying the situation has stabilized. Show News has been speaking with some residents in Accra to verify these claims.
Salam down, but when I check my praise, salam down, doing so is normal for me. And where I used to live at National Insurance, I think it's number for us. And if I check the runs to, it's okay for us. Now the doom so is normal for us as Asalam down.
All right, currently I'm living at Nima and I'm a student. I came back 3 days now, and from what I'm seeing now, I think it has drastically come down. And even from my hometown where I've been to before I returned to Nima, I think it has come down totally. But I don't know if it is going to rise again or not.
Live at Bowie. Yeah, for the past months, the this has been stable. No, you've not been experiencing it. No, last week the line went off like 4 hours and it came back. So since then, we've not been experiencing it. I think it's better this year than last year.
I live at Asalam down behind bus stop. That's Campflash Street. So I can say for now the doom so is okay now. Yeah, we are no more experiencing it.
Okay, actually I'm a student of Accra Academy and I'm a boarder. Okay, and for this doom so being in the school at first when it came, it was too much. In fact, the seniors who left last year really affected their results. But this year, as for the doom so, it's now stable. Because now when we go for prep, we don't have light out and things. So I think now it's stable. And then when we went home for vacation, we didn't experience any doom so, just that the credit that we buy, it just keeps on reducing. Like, if you go and buy 50 Ghana, within a week or two, it's finished, like, it gets finished.
Well, I live at Community 25 in Tema. But so far so good. I believe it has been a little bit stable because as compared to the previous days, the previous weeks, because those days we used to have about 3 times in a week for light. But now I think I quite remember it's been once in a week that I might see the light of something like that. So I think it has been a little bit stable as compared to the previous days or weeks that we used to be.
I live around Church Fair area and it has been stable, although like we are paying at a higher cost. So, but yes, I don't kind of remember my last time that we had a light out issue. No.
I stay at Odok official town, but okay, it seems it's stable now. But the problem we are having there is that sometimes you'll be there and some meters will go off, then they will be telling it's low schedule, low something like that. But we don't actually know whether it's from ECG or it's the meter which is giving us that problem.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with the entertainment segment.
Entertainment news is brought to
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. You?
Oh, very well, thank you, Aisha.
What's up with Mr. Kida? He's my man. Don't talk
He's your
much
man?
about him.
Okay, so you know his Brother song?
Yeah.
You can sing a line of that song?
Brother.
Continue. I want the next one.
Okay,
you skip what I wanted to hear. You know that song? You know that song says, brother, many there's something there.
Okay.
Actually, he used the F word in that song.
Really?
And a lot of people are not happy about that.
But I have not even paid attention
Exactly.
to it.
Some people have a sharp ear for music and they have paid attention and they noticed that the F word was in there. And so they've called on the organizers of the Ghana Music Awards not to nominate that song for any category in this year's award. But Mr. Kade is not so happy about the developments and he has this to say.
To be honest with you, when I saw that article, I was disappointed because when the song came out, nobody came out to write anything or say anything to me. I'm the type of person I listen to people a lot.
But the guy said fucking. He didn't say fucking.
Really?
That's what I
heard.
Well,
people are not happy that we have that word in the song.
Oh,
and
come on.
So
I'm sure it's just pettiness.
Exactly.
Just want to distract
to
this
you.
guy.
The awards is being organized by Charterhouse. So we decided to find out from Charterhouse what they make of this submission and what actually they make of, lyrics of the sort, And this is what Ni Hammond Aite had to say.
The VGMA board over the years have said and published that songs that are sexually explicit and violent are not nominated in the VGMA. So that one has been clear and has been out there for years now. We don't nominate songs with sexually explicit lyrics and which preaches violence.
How about words like the F word and the N word?
I cannot speak to them, but all I can tell you is that the VGMA deals with sexually explicit lyrics and lyrics that promote violence. This is what the board works with.
Well, whether they like it or not, that song is still a big song.
It's still a big song.
Hopefully it gets nominated, but you know, when you're an artist, your work needs to be scrutinized. Next time you need to do your work well. It's not a word that is allowed.
I've listened to Mr. Kede, consistently. He's not that type of guy. So I'll be surprised. I'm sure he means something else and not what Ghanaians are thinking.
Well, he has a lot of big songs. Mansa can win other awards.
You know, Mansa, you just cannot stay quiet when that song is being played.
Exactly. And you know that
you make some
can
moves.
do the kung fu dance to that song, you know.
Please,
anyway, so from one controversial story, we go to another controversial story, and this time around, it is why so that is in the news.
The Ipinese man.
I tell you, you know, he's got a lot of names now. Now, after showing, or not showing, did he show his manhood or he didn't show it? He showed something actually at the December to Remember concert. He's been in and out of court. One will be wondering, what will happen to his career? Is this thing having an effect on his career? Look. The guy says, don't worry yourself. I'm still playing shows. I'm still kicking people. Why says he's still on?
Much, but the only thing is that some of the shows that I have to play was cancelled. I have a lot of songs that I'm about to bring out very soon, and already some are out there that maybe you might have heard of it. I don't know. I'm not that sure because we've not really started the promo yet, but there are a lot of songs that we're bringing out. I've been playing shows since last year because the Kiki Me song is a massive hit.
I hear about some change of name somewhere.
Exactly.
Are they swearing affidavits and all of that?
You know, you have some names that you go elsewhere and it's difficult for people to mention. Actually, my name Akpene, I hear people call it Apene. People call it different things.
Okay.
So maybe one day I just say, okay, I'm not using Akpene again. And that's the same case with Ochiame Kwame. Even before him, we've had a lot of people change their names. And he said that he goes places and people can't just mention Ochiame Kwame. So he might consider changing his name. Here's a report by Ibrahim Bembako.
Changing of stage names by musicians is nothing new. Most often, these artists give interesting reason for changing their names. But the big question is, does the change of name really help these artists and their brands? We can make mention of Dead Body, now Kwesi, Batman Samini, now Samini, Bandana to Shatawali, Jane to Efia, and Bertha to Yaya. There are some who tried changing their names but were not successful. We can talk of Ako Nana to Nana, Two-Face Edibia to Tubaba, and Wizkid to Wizboy. At the F14 concert over the weekend at the Accra International Conference Center, rapper Ochiame Kwame hinted that he's considering changing his name.
In November, we will run around Africa from Uganda to Rwanda, South Africa. Just returned from Togo of late. We will do lots of rounds in Africa. But wherever we go to, they can't say Ochiame. They can't say Ochiame, and it breaks my heart. They can say Kwame, but they can't say Ochiame.
What do they say?
They can say Kwame and they Okinyame, and though I love my roots, I love the name, I do not want the name to be a barrier to. So maybe I will turn it into initials, or I take it off and just call myself Kwame, or I don't maybe keep Rap Doctor, I don't know. But we are still thinking of it. But we think that the name, something must be done about my name.
We spoke to Makokeku Mante, CEO of Slip Entertainment, as to if this changing of names really helps the artist, and this is what he had to say.
Some change for the better, depending on how you market the new name, and then some of them also die. But you do not just change a name for changing sake, which has no foundation, which has no meaning, or what you want to use it for. So it depends on the what you want to use this new name for. Like Daddy Lumba came and said he is now DL. Prince in America said he He's now called artist formerly known as Prince. Later on, he came and said his name was The Symbol. I'm sure by now he doesn't have a name. Yeah, people do it for various reasons. So Batman changed to Samini because he wanted to be identified as a black person and not Batman, which is an English name. So yes, for various reasons, it works.
But I seriously think he shouldn't change because he's built this brand over the years.
But if he even makes his initials, it's still the same thing. Okay is Ochiame Kwame.
It's not the same as Ochiame Kwame.
It's the same.
It could be the initials,
yeah.
But I tell you, it will affect his brand. Well, like Okiriku said, it depends on how you handle it. And if you want to talk about Samini changed his name, but he still added Batman. Don't forget.
No, he doesn't use Batman anymore.
But initially, it was Batman Samini,
exactly,
and then he transformed into Samini. So you need to be careful how you do it. But me, I'm okay with Ochiame Kwame. And if you want to talk about Isu Ndu and all those people, they're not changing their name. And those people out there in Europe, they mention it, all right.
But it's true.
And they attend their shows.
It's true they haven't changed their name, but a lot of us still have problem mentioning Usu Undo.
But they will attend his show. You will be amazed if he has a show in the UK.
True.
You would be amazed at people who will attend that show.
Who will go there for his music, though. Anyway, all right, so let's talk about the Okoye brothers. There's trouble in the camp of P Square. You know, P Square are being managed by their brother, Jude Okoye. And it happened today that Peter from last night was not okay with certain things that have been happening in their camp. And so he took to Twitter to address his brother, who is a manager of the team. Now he says that he's had it up to here. He thinks that Peter and Paul, making P Square, need to have a change of management. He thinks also that the artist pays a manager to work for them and not the other way around. He's tired of taking instructions from his brother. And then his brother Jude also replies him on Twitter, how interesting, and says, Peter has been going through a lot of issues for a while now and he needs prayers. He actually needs God. And Peter comes back and says his brother needs God as well. So that's from the camp of the Okoye's drama.
That's too bad.
Exactly, considering the fact that they're brothers.
Being outside public.
Maybe you're yet to hear Bisakede's brother.
Has he got a brother?
Hey,
maybe brother, sister, you know what I'm talking
about. Maybe. But let's move straight to the Grammys again. And yesterday I told you about Angelique Kidjo. I showed you her performance and she bigging up Africa and saying that Africa is rising. Now that statement got the BBC wondering why she would make such a statement. And here's a response to the BBC.
Oh, I don't know. I just move forward. I don't. The thing is, I said is I don't know what tomorrow holds. That's why I always say to myself, everything I do, I have to do in the way that I can account for it 10 years from now, and that people can hold me accountable to what I do and what I say. And for me, music has been my everything. Without music, I won't be able to be the person that I am today.
I don't think they should have taken her out of context because I heard what she said and she didn't mean any harm to
Well,
anybody.
she didn't. And she's actually saying that, look, she's saying this because she doesn't know what will happen tomorrow. And accountability is what is important.
Nobody
so
knows
Africa will still rise in Africa will still rise and making a lot of people proud.
Sure,
you know?
baby.
And you're doing the same as well. So that's it for entertainment and was brought to you by Airtel, the smartphone network. Aisha, baby.
Thank you so much, Ms. G, for bringing us entertainment. We'll bring you back the rest of the news after this break.
Entertainment news was brought to you by
Nathaniel Lato is here, and you know it's sports time. Nathaniel Lato, what's up for sports?
How you doing? We're talking about the league. You know, it's February 20th, this weekend, and everybody's looking ahead to it. You know, there's been a lot of suggestions about how to attract beautiful women like you to the stadium. You know, in Holland, in the Netherlands, what's happening is that when the players are proceeding onto the pitch, they go with ladies and bikinis and stuff, and it's attracting a lot of attention. You know, so the Ghana FA is also thinking about stuff like that. But which one is your local, your favorite local club?
I can't go wrong with Hearts of Oak, you know.
Okay, what is it about Hearts of Oak? Is it the fact that they have the rainbow colors, they play well, or something else?
I just love it. I just love Hearts of Oak. I mean, from infants, I can't explain why I love them. I just want Hearts of Oak. That's all.
Okay. So my name is Hearts of Oak.
And their new coach.
Okay, Kenichi. What about him?
I think he's cute enough to attract people, isn't it?
Okay, so I know what to do. I'll change my name to Kenichi, and I'll change my name to Heart of Oak as well.
Maybe.
So you can,
That's
anyway, we throw the focus on the Ghana Premier League, which begins on February 20, and there is a lot of focus on the preparation of the 16 clubs who will be playing, as well as arrangements for the Premier League. Now, the Vice President of the Ghana Football Association, George Efrie, has been speaking to Joy News about the upcoming season and what the expectations are.
The past few weeks have been an anxious moment for football fraternity following the delay to the commencement of the football season due to judicial proceedings within the football family. Like all stakeholders, the GFA has been waiting over the delay, and we are the first to express our excitement with the much-awaited season about to kick off. As we stated in our recent press statement, assuring the public of our commitment to stick to our publicized calendar, the FA is an organization who respects the internal and judicial processes, and our members have also shown their commitment to adhere strictly to our judicial process in seeking grievances. The GFA wishes to reiterate its commitment to respecting our independent judicial bodies. Let me take this opportunity to thank the clubs for their patience and their understanding, and to assure them that the Football Association stands by its rules and regulations. Just yesterday, we were invited to appear before the Parliamentary Select Committee on Sports, and also to explain why the delay in the league, why the delay in the commencement of the league. This goes to show that everybody in Ghana is concerned for the late commencement of our league. So therefore, we at the Ghana Football Association wish to state that we want to stick by our program or continue to abide by our rules and regulations and allow our judicial bodies to work independently. And FA takes this opportunity to wish all participating clubs all the best in the upcoming season. Thank you.
All right, so we're looking ahead to the commencement of the new season here in Ghana. And of course, some club administrators have been, reacting to the smooth look ahead or build up to the start of the Premier League, which suffered delays as a result of some legal tussles in the background.
It's a very welcoming news because we have been at camp for a very long time. Financially, it is not helping the clubs. Looking at the transportation from their residence to training grounds, their salary, we have to pay them every month once they are there playing without playing in a league. So it's a very welcoming news if the league is coming on this Sunday, of which I'm very positive it will come on this Sunday. Of course, it will keep our players very active. I was at Linkri last Sunday. I saw what happened to Ashgold. If the league had started earlier on, I think Ashgold could have buried the game in the first half. So once the league is started this Sunday, I think it will go a long way to help the two clubs.
It is quite, interesting to talk about the commencement of the league at this stage. It's been delayed for quite some time, but it's better late than never.
All right, so let's now throw the focus on the UEFA Champions League, and we bring you the latest scores and updates. In the game between Ghent and Wolfsburg, the home fans are not so happy because Julian Draxler has scored, in that game, putting Wolfsburg, the visitors from Germany, ahead by 1 goal. So it's Wolfsburg 1, Ghent 0, and of course it's just about on the stroke of halftime. And also that game between AS Roma and Real Madrid is running goalless. It's just on the stroke of halftime as well. No goals recorded yet. So these are the latest scores. for the UEFA Champions League. All right, so let's do some updates from the world of sport as well, remaining with football, and we throw the focus on the English FA. And the chairman, Greg Dyke, is proposing some reforms, some which have not been taken well by, stakeholders in the sport. Some of them include the cutting of bureaucratic processes and also reducing the number of complimentary tickets that go to certain, stakeholders who are, classified as up there within the English FA.
So feathers at this board meeting. What he wants to do is basically just change everything up. So what he's going to do is have a big vote of what is the FA Council. It's big members, where more than 100 people are going to decide how the whole place is run. Now, the makeup of the FA Council is interesting, and this is what he wants to change. It's made up of 123 members. Wow. Now, if we look at this, 123 members, only six of them are women, and only 4 are from black or an ethnic minority background. And the average age is around mid-60s, and the oldest person on that board is 94 years of age. So, as you can imagine, it's hardly representative society. That is one thing, the main thing that Greg Dyke wants to change. However, he needs the approval of this board to get it through. He wants to cut the average age on this board. He wants maximum term limits of 9 years. Also, he wants to bring in more representation from people like fans groups, from players groups, ex-players, current players. He wants more of these people on the board as well. Another key thing he wants to do is reduce the number of tickets allocated to each of these FA board members. Currently, they get around 8 tickets each for England games, for FA Cup finals. There's 123 members. That's best part of 1,000 seats that aren't going to the public. That is one thing he wants to change. He wants to cut bureaucracy, too much red tape at the FA to get things through, and also he wants to move on some of these old gardens, what we're calling a council of honour, where
Well, let's do some health-related sport now, because the bosses at FIFA have been urged to investigate the health risks of 3G pitches. Now, this follows a research by a pitch campaigner based in the UK, which revealed that the base of 3G pitches has substances that could cause cancer on players who play on them.
42 clubs in the top 4 leagues of Scottish football, 12 use 3G pitches. And you can see from these pictures the rubber crumb at the centre of the controversy bouncing off the turf. Well, Kilmarnock are among the clubs to have switched to a 3G pitch. They ripped up the turf at Rugby Park in the summer of 2014 to install the artificial surface. Rangers played there this evening in the second of 3 consecutive matches they play on 3G pitches. And defender Rob Kiernan wants to see them banned from the game.
I don't particularly like them. But it's part and parcel of it being up here. I knew that when I came here, so I can't really make excuses, but I would like to see them to be gone. I think the amount of injuries that's been recorded on them, and just the general play of it, it's just so different, and I think it'd be beneficial to the game up here to be to have them gone.
Are they better though than some of the grass pitches you've played on up here? Because the last few months have been terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. The pitches are going through the winter stages and whatever, but personally, I think if you ask most of the lads, grass pitch is what we want. That's what we've always trained on, and what we like to play football on.
You can't do without the hazards, can you? Let's wrap it all up with something rather interesting. Now, 5-time Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi has been doing his regular magic, this time in training with Barcelona. All right, so whatever Lionel Messi can do, Gareth Bale can do. Don't you see the competition brewing already after what happened with Cristiano Ronaldo flipping it after hearing all of that stuff about players in the camp of Barcelona? Well, it continues. We'll do some more. Just keep it here on Joy News. Thank you very much for watching. There is more here on The Bulletin. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.